Okay, so we are going to be looking at how to use Trello for project management. Oftentimes when you are a freelancer or a creative entrepreneur, project management can be kind of stressful. So whether or not you're struggling to keep your tasks, team members, clients, or goals organized, it can be kind of a headache at times. But finding a project management tool kind of allows you to be able to organize, track, and streamline the work that you're doing. Basically, the right tool can turn you into a project management master. So basically, you're able to prioritize your tasks and communicate with either team members or clients really simply and quickly. And there are tons of project management tools out there, but the one that I use personally is Trello. And I feel like Trello really stands out because it's simple, it's really straightforward, and it basically acts as a way for me to coordinate projects, communicate with clients, and get work done. So what I want to do today is take you through how to use Trello. When we're looking at this first screen, this is basically the screen you get to after you log into Trello. You can sign up for an account by going to Trello.com. Like I said earlier in the intro, I'll be including a referral link. I don't get paid for this, but I am able to earn gold star rewards, basically, which can accumulate so that I can earn premium services on the app. And what's nice is with Trello is it's not just a web-based app. You can also download it on your phone. I have Trello for my iPhone that I use when I'm on the go and I don't have access to my computer. I also have it on my iPad just so that I have multiple ways to access my Trello account. And it's basically like a really glorified to-do list, but it's amazing and I really, really enjoy using it. So when we're on this first screen, what you'll see is on the web-based version, in the upper toolbar, I want to go through these really quick. If you click on like the little button with 9 squares, it gives you different types of services that Atlassian, the company that owns Trello, that you can use or work with. I just choose to use Trello. If you click on home, it takes you to your home board, which is this base board that I'm looking at right now. Here you'll find starred boards, so basically anything that you've highlighted are important, any boards that you've recently viewed. I have some templates that I was looking at to see how I can build one for you guys. And then my personal boards, the boards that I've created specifically for my content and product calendar, for my marketing and social media editorial calendar, and for a client project that I'm working on. And that's what we're going to be looking at. If you look at templates, they have tons of different templates as well. They have business templates, they have design templates. So basically these are created so that they're catered specifically to the industry that you're working with. I like to build my own just because it makes more sense to me and I can wrap my head around what works. But there's tons of different options: marketing, personal lists, product management, project management, productivity, and so much more. There's also teams. You can create a team, and that could be, say for example, maybe you're a freelancer, but you work with multiple freelancers, and sometimes you share projects across to each other. Creating a team is a great way to do that. And if you are working for a bigger company with multiple people and different teams that you may be working on, this is a really great way to kind of like cross-pollinate, communicate between different teams, and track projects that way as well. There's also your boards. This is, again, you can find your boards by name. That's what they call basically like the to-do lists. They're your boards. They're kind of like the idea is a whiteboard. You can search using the search function. You can search for cards. You can search by tags. You can search by members. So if you @ someone, you can search for that as well. If you hit the plus button, you can create a board. You can create a team. You can create a business team. The I button is just information and tips and tricks, kind of like the help bar. The little bell is your notifications bell, so you can allow desktop notifications, which is really nice. You can get notifications on your phone, so as people finish work and they mark things off, you can get a notification. If you click on your little icon with your avatar over here at the far right, it basically allows you to showcase like whether or not your profile is visible, the activity that you've done throughout the week or day while in Trello, any cards that are upcoming that are due, specific settings, like if you want to, allow accessibility, opt out of emails, change your password, and then of course billing, help as well. You can get to a getting started guide. You can change the language as well. And you can log out of your account. So we're just going to go back to boards. And before I even jump into everything, I kind of want to go over what Trello is. So at its core, Trello is kind of like an online whiteboard or a corkboard. You can use it to organize specific cards into lists. And those cards can be tasks, they can be notes, they can be projects, they can be shared files, or anything else that basically helps you or a team that you might be working with together to accomplish tasks. It's really based on this really simple idea that for really effective project management, you need full visibility and transparency over all relevant tasks that go into completing a project, and you need flexibility to rearrange them as your priorities change within the project workflow. Trello really helps clients, it helps freelancers, it helps businesses to provide accountability, sanity in my case, visualization, especially for creative people, being able to visually see something, organization, and cohesion, because again, this transparency really allows people to see what is being done, when it's being done, and where it is in the pipeline. So typically with a Trello board, you can create order in your work by basically organizing it into lists of cards. And I think this is fantastic because I am a huge list maker. I made lists constantly, and I would have a million pieces of paper all over the place. And then when you look at my board, you see I have a million lists in Trello. But I'm able to track them better and get work done and have everything in one place. And what's nice as well is that sometimes things change and deadlines have to be pushed back or rearranged or pushed forward, and Trello really allows you to do that really easily. I can take any of these items and move them around within any of the lists or change the dates really simply if I have to reprioritize what I'm doing. It really helps to solve the problem of like long email threads, like I mentioned earlier. Sometimes maybe you don't need to have a meeting on something and you can just outline the goals, the deadlines, and things like that within Trello. It saves me a lot of phone calls often with clients, so there's no back and forth, because typically they'll give me an end goal for when they want something launched, and then I can work back from there, creating my own deadlines based on my needs and not necessarily what the client is telling me. It keeps for accountability, not just for myself, but often for my clients. They have deadlines that they have to follow in order for us to get projects done on time, in a timely manner, by when they want their product launched. So they have to stay accountable, and this allows them to visually see how they're staying accountable and when things are due. It can also help to clarify projects as well, because you can add so much information into a card, which we'll go through shortly. It helps to rectify forgetfulness. You can't forget something if you write it down. That's often why, to-do lists are so important. And don't get me wrong, I still, even though I use Trello, I still write things down because I'm just a creative person. I'm very tactile. Yes, the digital things help me stay organized. I can look at it and see it, but then I have to go back into my physical planner and write out my daily to-dos because that's just how I am. But those pieces of paper can get lost, right? With this, you have this online all in one place. You can't lose it. You can have it on your phone. You can have it on an iPad, and you don't have to worry about someone forgetting something. You don't have to worry about someone forgetting something because it's there. By keeping all of the information you need in a single location, it's really easy to keep everything and everyone on track, quickly see what's being done, and then be able to even look back at prior conversations, because you can add notes to these cards, which is fantastic. Before we jump into my content and product calendar, I wanted to highlight some other ways Trello can be used for. So a big thing is project management, right? You can outline, create goals, and use it as a project management tool, but you can also use it for something like editorial calendar planning. So you can simplify the process of planning articles for the next few months, and I do this with my content for YouTube and for my Skillshare classes. by basically using a Trello board to plan out my ideas. I can add a list where I can add cards for content ideas. I can add a list for each month that I'm planning for. I can use colored labels to designate like the type of media that content can be used for, whether it's like a blog post or in my case like a video or a Skillshare class. And then you can also prioritize new ideas as they come by dragging in different cards and dropping them where they need to be. And by planning your publishing calendar in Trello, you can really easily prioritize and replan when things like last minute requests come in. You can be transparent with your plans, and it's just a really great way to organize yourself. So for me, I like to use it for content creation and for product development as well. So with content, creating content for print or digital mediums really requires collaboration between lots of different people, lots of different departments and bigger businesses. For someone like me, though, I'm the one creating all of it, right? So it allows me to track the process. It allows me to keep in mind what needs to go live, when, and for what. So when you're looking at it from like a content and publishing board, you can think through all of the steps that content has to go through before it is published, whether that's like editing, approval, copywriting, and things like that. You could also have, if you have a team, designated team members subscribe to those lists to get notifications when new cards are added. Again, this is just me working from a freelance perspective. So a lot of what I do is assigning due dates, past due dates, coordinating things by color, and basically by platform that content is going to be going live. This allows me to really coordinate what I'm doing, keep track of it really simply and easily. I know if something is red, that it's overdue. I know if something is green, it's done, and then I can move it to the done area. So let's look at that right now. So let's look over at Patreon. I have a whole bunch of green items that went up in the last week. So these are all my complete items. So I can take this by clicking on it with my mouse and I can drag it over to my done section, right? Or I can click on the card and click the little pen icon, which allows me to edit, and then I can select move, and then I can move it to the done. Like, because I move things to done, often it's one of the suggestions, but if that didn't come up, you can click on any of the items below it, and you can select your board, and then change your list, and you can either move it to a different list, or in my case, move it to done. And then the position 23 is the last position in the row because that's basically the last thing that I completed. And I can just go through one by one to each of my items and move them. I also keep track of items, like their deadlines, and also I use color coding to highlight when something is completed or close. So if you look at the red icons, that means something is due or overdue. I just finished this vlog, so I'm going to change it by clicking on it into the card, click my due date as being done, click on it into the card, and then check mark my due date because it is complete and X out. And then I'm going to click on my little pen icon and I'm going to move it to done. So this kind of highlights how I use Trello basically as a really just well-organized to-do lists. I can plan, I can report, and like I said, the biggest way I use this is as a freelancer. I want to take you through the process of me setting up a client Trello board. So we're going to go to a board that I already have set up, and I'm going to show you some of the key things that I work on through this. This client is already, this project is already done, and I keep these really, really simple. And I'm going to show you how to add your list and how to set up your list so that it makes it easier. But for now, I want to highlight how I create my client boards. Even if you have one client, keeping track of deadlines, keeping track of assets, keeping track of, whatever it is that you're working on, in order to keep them and yourself accountable, using something like Trello, even with just one client, I think is actually really beneficial. I have basically kind of like a running assignment to-do list, and because I often have competing deadlines, multiple clients, and ongoing requests, this basically helps me to keep track of things. I can add deadlines to cards really easily. If you subscribe to that card, Trello will automatically notify you when an assignment is due. I can easily access the list of completed assignments when it's time to create things like invoices. I can keep track of invoices and include those in my cards like I do here. And I can keep an ongoing list of completed assignments and projects that can be used when searching for things like portfolio items or samples that I can send to prospective new clients or that I can upload to my portfolio website. So basically, using Trello to manage my freelance work really helps with capacity planning. If a new request comes in or a new client pitch is going out, I can review what outstanding assignments or projects I'm working on and basically determine whether or not I have the time or when I can create the time for a new client or a new project. Let's go through my client project. So typically, when I create a contract for a client, I create a list of deliverables, and then I'm able to basically copy and paste those deliverables into a Trello board. It's really fantastic. You can copy and paste functions, and it'll ask you, do you want to include this as one chunk of information, or do you want to include it as separate cards based on, paragraphs? So if you have an enter after each section. And it's really nice and easy. But typically, I have deliverables for both the client and I have deliverables for myself. Then I have things like final website files and invoices. Or if it was a branding project, I might have branding assets needed from client and branding assets needed from me, final branding files, and anything else that may be included in their branding suite. But the biggest thing that I like to keep track of is those final files, those invoices, my client deliverables, and my deliverables. And I'm able to basically outline when everything is due, work backwards from when their hope for, a live launch is, and give myself the timeline. And I can build it out for them and for me. So I'll have contracts included so that there's no risk of losing things or forgetting something. So now let's take a step back. I want to create a new board with you. To do this, all you'll do is click on your home button, and then you can select Create New Board. And you can name it whatever you'd like to name it. I'm just going to name it Practice Board. You can choose to have it public, or you can choose to have it private. I'm just going to have it private. You can change the background, which is really nice. You can add colors or use imagery. If you click on these three dots, it has more photos that you can select from. They're typically from unsplash.com. I'm just going to pick something nice and sunny because I'm wishing that it was sunny and warm here, and it's not. Once you've created what you wanted, you can choose to start with a template, or you can just create board. In this case, we're just going to create board. And now we're at a blank board. Okay, so this is the practice board. You can start so that you know that this is the board that you're going to be working on. You can invite different people over email, or you can create a link if you are sharing with other freelancers or there's other people on your team. And we're going to start with creating lists. So to do that, what you'll see is you have this little add list section. If you click on it, it'll highlight and you can enter a list title. So basically, this is like the main category section, and then you add cards underneath. So if we were making a freelance client board, what I would do is create a list for client deliverables, and then my deliverables for the client, and just hit enter and it'll create a new board. I would create a list for final assets. I would also create a list for assets needed from client. Those would come before my final assets. So what's nice is I can just click on this card and move it over. And then I would create a list for invoices, and then something for the in-progress work, completed work. And I'm actually going to move in progress work to right before final assets. So it's kind of like creating this workflow. The client has to send me stuff. I have to send the client stuff. These are the assets that I need from the client, and I want to have a place that I can store them. I'm going to highlight basically when I'm in progress working on something. Perhaps a client has to review. So we should have it too. We should have a list titled for review. And then final assets. I'll upload invoices, and then I'll upload completed files over here. So to add a card, what you'll do is you'll basically click underneath in the little space under the original card, and then you'll include whatever deliverable the client may need. So client needs to send web logins. Client needs to send recent logo files. So once I've created those cards, I can then click on them and then click on the inside of the card. And when we're in the card, this allows you to include things like descriptions, attachments, subtasks or checklists, due dates, times, assignees, and labels. And that's why I like this so much. I can add detail into the card. So instead of like creating a huge block of text in my to-do list, I can add that block of text here. I can create a checklist. Say I need specific logins, so like website, Facebook, Instagram. And then I can actually also add a due date. So if I need everything by a specific date, if you click on due date, it'll give you a pop-up and it'll give you a calendar and then the time. So you can pick a day and then you can pick a specific time. And then you can even set a reminder for like the day before or 20 minutes or 2 hours before. And then you can just select save. And it basically gives you more information. So what's also nice is that you can write comments. And whoever's working with you can respond to those comments. They can, check to make, you can do something like a smiley face. Or for me, like the thumbs up to notify that you have seen it already and that you've read it. They can respond as well. You can add members to the card. So if you want to invite a specific member to this board that's already been invited, in this case, like a client, you can add the client information there as well so that they know that they have to keep track. You can label this. You can create a label. This could be like, if I select a color, I know green is always client deliverables, or actually, I use green a lot for like finished work, so we'll change it to blue. Pick a color. What's the purpose of the color? It's depicting client deliverables. Hit save. You know that this is highlighted in blue because this is a client deliverable item. And then it will be highlighted in blue. So that's again, it just keeps it really clear and really simple. So let's click into the next card actually. So if we click into the next card, we can actually add attachments. So in this case, if the client needs, to send recent logo files, say for example, they already have the file so they can just attach it. You can attach it from a Google Drive, a Dropbox, OneDrive, or Box, or you can just upload it directly from your computer. So you can, search for your logo, and then choose it, and then it will upload and attach, and then they can download it. They can delete it, they can comment on it, and again, it's just a simple way to kind of keep track of assets, keep it all in one place. Like I said earlier, the best thing about these cards is that they allow people to basically talk about the task that they're working on. You can mention team members in a comment by using the @ symbol. So I can @ myself in this case because I don't have any other members in this, but I can @ myself, and then I can add a comment. And I do this a lot with clients because it specifically highlights something that's important for them to review. What's really cool as well is with Trello, you can add tasks straight from your email to a Trello board. Go to your menu, so click on Show Menu, and then go to More. And then you could do email to board settings, and you can actually email yourself a task list directly from an email, and then it'll go straight into your board. So basically, when you send an email to that address, the subject line will become the card title, the body will be the card description, and then any attachments will be attached to the card. So let's do this as an example. So I'm going to copy this email, and then I'm going to go into my email, and then I'm going to compose an email, and then I'm going to paste that email that I got from Trello. My subject is the title of my to-do list of my board, and then I'm going to add information into the body. And then I'm going to add an attachment just so that you can see that it adds right away. And then we'll go back into my Trello account. So if I refresh, you'll see in my most recent board, new board tester, the attachment that I included, and when I click on it, it has the information in my description, the rest of the information from the email, as well as the attachment and the title that I gave it in my title of my email. The other thing you can do that's important is your notifications. In your right-hand side of your toolbar, of your menu bar, you see that little bell. If you click on that bell, this basically gives you notifications. This allows you to stay up to date without email. Basically, notifications inform you about news from the boards and the tasks that you're a member of, so you never miss anything important. You can tweak your notification settings and your account settings, which are basically accessed by clicking on your name and your picture, or just clicking that bell. And you can change your notification email frequency, or you can allow things like desktop notifications. The next thing I want to go over is how to copy a Trello board template. So like I said before, Trello offers some fantastic templates that you can use. So we're going to go back to our home board, and we're gonna find a template. If you click on the templates, I'm going to select design, and we're going to select a freelance branding project. So since it comes with all these fantastic project preset templates that are freely and publicly available, what's important is that you copy them and use it. So it'll take you to kind of like an outline of what this template is all about. You can share it, or you can view the template by clicking view the template, and it kind of has an outline of what would be going into a freelance branding project from a Trello perspective. You'll see that it's public. Lots of other people can access this, so you don't want to edit anything in here. So what you'll do is, once you're in the board, what's really nice is that Trello makes it really simple. You can click on create board from template, and it'll create a board for you. You want to make sure it's private. You want to keep the cards and keep the template cards, and then select create. And then it gives you your own version of this board that you can then go in and edit. If you're ever in a board that isn't necessarily a Trello template, you can also copy a board by going into your menu and selecting more, and then you can select copy board, and it'll allow you to copy the board as well. Okay, so that is it for this tutorial. I hope you found it helpful and informative. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Take care. Bye.